What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Understanding the Reason. I'm your host, Jerome Majette. Man, I'm so excited that you guys are here with us today. We're going to go through our fourth chapter. We've been reading through my book, Understanding the Reason God Made Man, What Made Him Do It. It's an awesome resource for you. If you're looking to answer the three questions we've been talking about, why am I here? What is my purpose? And what happens next? I've put a lot of detail in here, 18 years of work. And that being said, man, I want to take a few moments to shout out one of my former supervisors when I worked for a Fortune 500 company, Miss Pat. Miss Pat was there, man, when I was writing this book and putting things together, and I was running things past her, and she was a wonderful support for me and always was encouraging. So Miss Pat, thank you so much. Love you so much. Thank you again for your contribution to this work that we're attempting to do to get the information out to people who really want to know the truth about, man's origin, where we come from. Okay, so that being said, man, listen, if you guys pick up my t-shirts, my books, send me a selfie over on Facebook Messenger, and I will shout you out like I'm doing. And we're going to do that at the end of the video as well. So if you don't mind, stick around and please help me show some love to people who are, they don't have to support me. You know what I mean? They really don't. But I want to, show my love and appreciation and be, very, very grateful. And if you do the same thing, if you participate, we'll shout you out as well. Okay. So let's get into what we're talking about. So we've been on this thing, man, like wanting to understand, why did God, who is a spirit, create physical matter, right? Now, when we say spirit, those of you who have been around a while, you probably know what I'm going to say, but when we say spirit, we're talking about he's eternal, and he took a segment of eternity and segmented it or segregated it so that we can have this experience called life, right? And life has a beginning and life has an ending, right? But as an eternal being, he doesn't have an ending, and he, of course, doesn't have a beginning, and he doesn't have an ending, right? So that's curious to me. Like, why would he do it? What would motivate him to do it? And that's why we've been walking through this phenomenal book, man. I love the fact that the things in here, man, have just the way that it came to me. I was the pen and he was the author. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about where we left off. So we're looking at, I started a segment. I don't know how good it went, but I started a segment. Did you know, right? So as it relates to evolution and, scripture, which one is telling the truth, right? Is science telling us the reality of how we came here, or did we get here from a supernatural source, right? Did God, the creator of the universe, put us on the planet and give us what we have today? We have supremacy over all the works of his hands, right? That's what the scripture tells us. We are at the top of the food chain. There's nothing that has superseded us ever, right? And so, is that true? Is that true? So you guys probably already know this guy by the name of Darwin, who is the father of evolution, right? And did you know that in order to bolster the argument of natural selection, he used a moth, the peppered moth, to say, this is how, human beings evolved and natural selection works and stuff like this. I'm going to read this to you. Check this out. So this theory attempts to prove natural selection based on the moth's ability to camouflage itself to avoid predatory birds. It's used in the argument of evolution by natural selection as a benchmark in our evolution from ape to man, right? From ape to man. Like, I've been saying this, and we said it on our last video, so please go check it out. It was fire. It was fire. So we've been saying that everything in the physical world is governed under a law called the law of reciprocity. Under that law is a principle known as the seed principle. That principle it's in execution every day. We see it every day, but we didn't really know that it was a law, right? Like, it's, when we say law, we're talking about something that's absolute. There's no way to supersede it. right? If so, let's say for example, right? So if you have and oh, a good one, dogs, right? Scientists say or biologists say that the dog originated from the wolf, right? But then you have all of these breeds, right? You have all these different breeds, and you have breeders that have breeded these dogs and stuff like that to actually get another breed of dog. So that right there is a great example because the domestic dog is not a wolf, even though the domestic dog comes from that kind. And that's what we talked about in the last video too. Like we got to be very, very careful and embracing this theory of evolution as it relates to us, because what is in my mind, now this is just me, in my mind, it's like an attempt to diminish the value of who we are and dispel what scripture says as the reason we're here. So the divine information that came from scripture, from the creator, who then, now here's the thing that's crazy. A lot of the scientific research is actually confirming what the scripture says. That's amazing to me, right? So we talked about homology, right? Homology is a part of the biologic theories that because things have the same structural features, they must have came from the same source. Well, no. Scripture says that we originated from kinds. God made these kinds. And how do we know? Because he embedded in the seed the actual blueprint to procreate that particular kind. Now, if somehow there's an interference in that, it's going to produce something else, but the base foundation is going to be from the same kind, right? As demonstrated in our example of the wolf and the domestic dog, right? So now here's another did you know? Did you know that Darwin was attempting to use the finch, right, which is a bird, the finch on Galapagos Island as a way to support this whole idea of evolution by natural selection, right? So let me read a little bit more to you guys. 13 separate species of finches on the Galapagos Island came from one source, right? And is proclaimed as the high mark of natural selection due to the differences in these birds' beaks. well, I mean, as we just said, you can have the same kind in various species or various variations within that same kind, right? So that's what you're saying. It is supposed that this is where Darwin originally surmised his theory of evolution. However, does the ability of a bird to adapt to their environment really lock that in? Like, man, evolution is it. That's how it works. No, I just believe sincerely what the scripture says, that everything produces after its own kind whose seed is in itself, because I see it every day. I see it every day. Even the human species, as recorded by Dr. Jonathan Wales, who is a fellow of the Discovery Institute and the author of Icons of Evolution, Science or Myth. This is what he said. Check this out. If we imagine the whole history of life on Earth taking place within a 24-hour period, and we start the clock, we have these single-celled organisms. They're simple organisms, single-celled, right? This is what he's saying. At the 6th hour, no change. At the 12th hour, same, no change. At the 8th hour, still the same, simple, single-celled organisms. 3/4 of the day has passed and we still have the same single-celled organisms. Then about the 12th or the 21st hour, within a space of about 2 minutes, boom, something called the Cambrian explosion. And man, I'll tell you what, we'll get into it a little bit more, but what he's saying is that they're finding this in the fossil record. They're not finding a slow pace and a gradual change in evolutionary process where things go from one thing to boom, what it is, right? They're not finding that in the fossil record. What they're finding is that you see something going on where there's nothing happening, and then all of a sudden, bam, here's life, right? And then that kind of aligns, that scientific thinking and the fossil record supports that when God said, let there be this, boom, it came forward. When God said, let there be that, boom, it came forward, right? So, to me, I can't go with evolution. I got to go with scripture. Man, listen, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for showing up, man, and being a part of this. It's a blast for me. I love it. Please consider picking up our book, Understanding the Reason God Made Man, What Made Him Do It. Also, get yourself a shirt, send me a selfie, and let me shout you out. And please be a part of what we're doing. We love to have you. All right, so thank you again. Stick around and help us show some love to the next person that we have in line to show some love to and gratitude, okay? We love you guys sincerely. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.